Hey everybody, welcome to Sports Map Texans. All things Texans right here. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet so you got all of our content. I'm John. That's Lance. You can hear us mornings on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Lance, before the season started, we debated whether or not this Texans team could be a top 10 defense. Now, you said that was a little bit maybe more than you were hoping or you thought that they could do. They're ninth right now. I thought that it was a possibility. I always am positive about our team, though, right? Right now they're ninth. And, you know, with the teams that they're playing, with Stingley coming back, possibly, I don't know when, but when he does come back, can they be even better and stay a top 10 defense this year?
I think it can be close, but I mean, they have to. I think the pass rush needs to get a lot better, more consistent, and the linebacker play has to be more consistent. I mean, so basically, your front seven have to play more consistent. I do think do I think they're one of the top 10 defenses? No. Do I think because of strength of schedule, it might be beneficial to them competing in that area? Yeah, that's certainly possible.
Well,
they don't play a very strong schedule.
Don't forget, too, I mean, a few of those games were without Petrie and Ward.
Yeah.
You know,
Ward.
and I think Cashman has played himself. If it's a meritocracy, Cashman has got himself playing time. Not only playing time, but he should be out there most of the time, the way he can cover and rush the passer. You're right, they do have to get better, and we'll talk about getting better with the pass rush in just a second. But I got to talk about cold, clean, crisp, refreshing Coors Light. When you're watching the game, I mean, I really enjoyed this past game because I had me some Coors Lights while I was watching it. And it's the only way that you can't, for me, it's the only way to enjoy whatever it is you're doing. I don't care what it is you're doing if you're just sitting around watching TV. Coors Light, if you're active, if you're playing golf, if you're bowling, if you're hacky sacking, I don't care. It's time for a cold, clean, crisp, refreshing Coors Light. Please, please keep Texas chill with your cold, clean, crisp, refreshing Coors Light. I want you to climb on, brother. That weakness is that pass rush. Second to last right now in sacks. Is it because of personnel? Is it scheme? Is he not blitzing enough? Is there anything that's going on that you see why they are so poor getting to the quarterback?
Yeah, just guys aren't winning one-on-one matchups. I think in the last game you saw there was better pressure coming from the inside, from the interior rush was actually better than the outside rush. And a lot of it, I thought Grenard had some good moments where he gave Trevor Penning some problems, both right down the middle and around the corner where there's a hold that wasn't called. But ultimately, I think the edge rushers right now are not countering. They're not being able to, when they have a move that's defeated, they're not getting to a second move that frees them to the quarterback. And you know, every defense wants to be able to rush 4 and cover 7.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you want to be able to do that when you can. And, of course, Demeco was bringing blitzes, too. He was bringing some corner blitzes. He was bringing delayed safety blitzes. He was doing some of that. But I do think he's going to have to get creative schematically to start putting some pressure on the quarterback because it's not happening enough.
Well, and I don't know if you've been watching a lot of Will Anderson, but he's taking a lot of inside rushes right now as opposed to trying to win on the outside. So we'll see whether or not we'll see how he adjusts on that. And against Derek Carr late in the game, they were putting a lot of blitzes together. But that was, I guess, just at the end so that they could stop him and not get into the end zone. But maybe he has to do that more. But that's a little risky, isn't it, having to blitz all the time? And, oh, by the way, you're much better off if you rush 4 and get to the quarterback.
Yeah, ultimately Will Anderson's a guy you brought in to become a plus NFL rusher. And Grenard, you want to do just enough, and you want the blitz to get home. So you're going to have to start having those elements start coming together, or it's going to be a lot harder to be a top 10 defense if you're not getting after the quarterback.
If right now, are you guessing that Jonathan Grenard will get a second contract here?
I would say no. Really? I think Jonathan Grenard hasn't really done enough to warrant a second contract, and I think you go cheap. You draft another pass rusher, and then you develop.
Well, you got Horton too that you can bring along as well.
Yeah, and Dylan Horton's more of a physical guy who can maybe rush from the interior, maybe from the from the edge, but he's not a speed rusher necessarily. So it's still, we still may be, I don't think they'll ever stop looking for guys who get after the quarterback. I think that's always going to be a thing. But Grenard, unless he really comes on, it's going to be hard to warrant a second contract. I know it's a different GM, but you saw even Connor Barwin, who was a much more effective player, he didn't get a second contract with the Texans. So you need to really be at a much higher level, I think.